We begin with the latest developments in Israel's war on Gaza. The Israeli government has been meeting to approve the first phase of the ceasefire deal with Hamas. Once confirmed, a ceasefire would take effect within 24 hours and prisoners would be swapped within a 72-hour window.
Around the clock, but not only worked. I think you put in your brains and your hearts, and we know that it's for the benefit of Israel and the United States, for the benefit of decent people everywhere, and for the benefit of these families who will finally get to be with their loved ones. And I want to thank you on their behalf as well, and on behalf of the people of Israel. Thank you.
Obviously, bringing the hostages home it's been a priority for President Trump for a very, very long time, and we've all worked very tirelessly to do that. But I really want to say that this all would not have been possible without the bravery of the IDF and the soldiers, what they've accomplished not just in Gaza, but also what they've done in the theater over the last couple of years to eliminate Hezbollah in the north and really degrade them. What you were able to do in Iran, it really helped set a big tone. But particularly seeing the way that your citizen army, I know a lot of you, probably all of you, have family, friends who were in this effort, really put your sacrifices on the line to fight for your country and to try to make a difference. I think that made a very, very big difference in there. And I want to just give a very, very special thanks to Prime Minister Netanyahu, who really did an incredible job with this. And did a great job in the negotiations. You held your lines firm, and I think that between you and President Trump, you had a lot of alignment on what the end state should be.
The hard job was the Prime Minister's. He had the job of protecting this country. He had the job of making tough choices with regard to how tough to be with Hamas, when to be flexible, when not to be flexible. I think to myself all the time, I lost sleep over it. What would I have done in some of those circumstances? There were times that I thought we should be more flexible, or your country should be more flexible. But the truth is, as I look back, I don't think we get to this place without Prime Minister Netanyahu playing it out. Just saying that, they're not just words. The president believes that. My president believes it. He believes that Prime Minister Netanyahu made some very, very difficult calls, and lesser people would not have made those calls. And here we are today because Hamas had to, they had to do this deal. The pressure was on them. They were backed up, and you've got the bigger army. You were making inroads, and that's what led to this.
Those are the latest pictures we've been getting there from West Jerusalem, where the Israeli Prime Minister has been meeting his full cabinet. And in that meeting was the U.S. Special Envoy for the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, along with Jared Kushner, the negotiating team, the U.S. negotiating team, which was in Sharm el-Sheikh to sign that ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas, an agreement which was presented yesterday and was agreed to yesterday, a plan by the Trump administration. We heard there from both the Israeli Prime Minister as well as the two U.S. envoys. Let's bring in Hamdah Salhut, who's in Amman, for more on this. Hamdah's there because the Israeli government has banned Al Jazeera from reporting in Israel and the occupied West Bank. So that government meeting, that cabinet meeting happened and was attended by both Kushner and Steve Witkoff. What did we hear and what did we learn from that meeting, Hamdah?
Well, that meeting is actually still underway in West Jerusalem. This is Netanyahu's wider government meeting where they will vote to ratify the ceasefire deal that's on the table. Earlier in the day, there was a security cabinet meeting. It was a little bit delayed because of some internal Israeli political issues with the right-wing lawmakers in Netanyahu's coalition. But now they are at the wider government meeting in which they will vote yes for this deal. Netanyahu has a broad majority within his his coalition who are going to support this deal. It's something Netanyahu says accomplishes all of Israel's war goals and objectives. But it's important to mention that there are members of the coalition who are going to vote no, the ultra-right parties, the parties of Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir, the finance minister and national security minister, respectively, who said that they cannot support a deal like this because they want more war. They want to only achieve the victories through military means, not through any sort of diplomacy, because their vision for what happened after the war ended was different for Gaza. They wanted to occupy it. They wanted to take over the land. They wanted to expel the Palestinian people. They wanted to build illegal settlements. So this meeting that's going on underway in West Jerusalem is actually including the American negotiators. They're there. They met with Netanyahu and his one of his ministers, Ron Dermer, and this meeting is still happening.
Yeah, quite significant, isn't it, that the American negotiators, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, are part of this meeting. Reminders of the American role in all of this and the pressure that the American administration has been putting on the Netanyahu government to accept this deal.
Well, the American negotiating team in this video said that Hamas was under a lot of pressure to accept this deal. But in previous months, Hamas was willing to accept deals. Back in August, they accepted a deal that was brought forward to them by mediators. Israel never responded. Hamas has been saying for quite some time that they were ready for a comprehensive ceasefire and that it was Israel who did not want to agree to it, because Netanyahu said that all of Israel's goals and objectives wouldn't be achieved through whatever deal was on the table, even though the one back in August had almost 90% of what Israel wanted. That's according to mediators. But Netanyahu and the Israelis were under pressure from the Americans. They were increasingly isolated internationally, political, in the cultural sphere. So Trump said that he is acutely aware of this, and it's going to be his job to essentially fix Israel's standing in the world. And when President Trump gave interviews to American media shortly after he announced the ceasefire, he said that Netanyahu had no choice, that this was the only way forward. This was the only way to end the war. And it's something that Netanyahu receives a lot of criticism domestically by his constituents, saying that he had no plan for the war, that he was prolonging it for his own personal and political gain.
Both Israel and Hamas have now agreed, we know, to the first phase of the plan. The full Israeli cabinet due to vote on the agreement now. Talk to us about what happens after that.
So the ceasefire deal will go into effect 24 hours after it's signed, meaning the bombardment will stop and Israeli forces will begin their withdrawal toward that yellow line that's outlined in the maps that are shown on the screens, the maps that were provided not only by mediators but posted online by the American president himself. So Israeli forces will begin their withdrawal, and then after that, within 72 hours, Hamas will be releasing all of the living and the bodies of the deceased captives who are being held inside of Gaza. There are 20 captives, Israel says, who are alive and 28 who are deceased.
Hamdah, thank you very much for bringing us the latest there from Amman. Hamdah Salhut.